Hello, friend, and welcome back to the show. Today is our last episode in this series on how to hear God's voice. And I want to remind you, if you haven't taken advantage of it yet, there's a link in the description box below on a free prophetic personality quiz that you can take. You can print it out and share it with your friends if you want. It's real quick and it's fun and easy, and you can discover what is your primary way of hearing from God. And today is my last episode as well in the year 2025. We're getting ready to break for Christmas. I'm going to take a couple of weeks off to spend some time with my family. I wish you a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we will be back after the new year, where we're going to dig into the Proverbs 31 woman. So you don't want to miss that. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, click the bell icon so you get notified as soon as an episode is uploaded. Now let's get into today's episode of the Seer. So my husband is a seer. He is a visionary. He holds the office of an apostle. And sometimes his visions and what he sees can honestly scare the life out of me. And it scares a lot of people because he's a big dreamer. He sees the bigger picture. And I'm sitting over here like, well, how are we going to do that? I'm always asking, how are we going to do that? And his response is, I don't know how yet, but I know that this is the direction we're going, and I see this happening. He'll often cast a vision, whether it's for the church or for our business or anything like that, that it's this initiative that requires resources we don't have, people we haven't met yet, infrastructure that doesn't exist yet. And he's over here talking about it like it's already done, like we should just do it. It's already done. Let's just move forward in that direction. He's already seen it. It's like it's more real for him than what is actually right in front of us right now. And the thing is that I've learned from living with him is that he actually has seen it. He has seen it in vivid detail. It is real for him. It's not just wishful thinking. It's not just, oh, wouldn't it be cool if? It's something that he has seen. And once he has seen it as a seer, it instantaneously fills him with faith. And it gives him this foundation to stand on that absolutely seems impossible to everyone else around him. That's the power of being a seer. You don't just hear about the future, you actually see it. And that vision becomes more real to you than your current reality. And here's the tension that comes with that. Everyone else around a seer is still living in their current reality. And so they don't see what the seer sees. And they can sometimes think that the seer's crazy or unrealistic, irresponsible, and maybe even just a dreamer. And here's what I want you to hear today, is that as a seer, you're not just a dreamer, not in the derogatory sense, you're a seer, and your visions are from God. So let's start with, how do you recognize if you're a seer? First of all, you're the dreamer, you're the visionary. And I mean that in the most powerful prophetic sense of those words. You see beyond what most people see, and you have this long distance vision of what is to come. While everyone else is focused on what's right in front of them, you're seeing 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, or 20 years ahead. You can see clear pictures of what God is going to do, not just vague impressions, but actually clear pictures. You can picture it in your head of, it will look like X, Y, Z. You see buildings before they're built. You see ministries before they exist. You see breakthrough before it is realized. You dream prophetic dreams. And I'm not just talking about the weird dreams where you're flying or you show up to work in your pajamas. I'm talking about dreams that are so vivid, so detailed, so real that you wake up and you know they meant something. You know that God just showed you something. You get visions, actual pictures in your mind, sometimes when you pray and sometimes when you worship. Sometimes they just randomly drop in while you're driving or making dinner or in the shower, and you see it like a movie playing in your mind. You see the big picture that encompasses your passion. You don't just see the next step. You see the whole journey, the destination, the impact, and the legacy. And here's what makes seers so powerful. You're instantaneously filled with faith when you see something. Most people, they need to work up to faith, but they need to talk themselves into believing. But for you, you've seen it. You already know, you saw. So of course you believe it because it's real to you. The vision feels more real than the current reality. You can be in an empty room and see it full of people. You're looking at an empty bank account, but you can see the ministry fully funded. And current circumstances don't intimidate you because you've already seen the outcome. You see things as how they should be or how they could be, not just how they are. You look at brokenness and you can see restoration. You look at chaos and you can see order. You look at what is and then you can see what will be and what could be. So let me give you some quick examples. For instance, you're driving by an abandoned building and you can see it fully renovated, filled with life and serving the community, while everyone else just sees a broken, rundown piece of property. You can see someone and you can meet someone and you can see that they're broken, but then you can see who they're supposed to become. You can see who they're going to become. Everyone else just sees their current state, but you can see their destiny. You can be in a strategy meeting and everyone's discussing the current problems, and you might even get a little bored because you've already seen the solution. You've already seen 3 years ahead when the problem's already been resolved and you've moved on to the next thing. Now, let me clarify the difference between seeing and the other gifts. Knowers, they just know things. They can't explain it. They don't know how they got there. They just know. Feelers feel things. They feel what's going on in the atmosphere. They feel God's heart about something. They have emotions about things. They can feel things in their body. Hearers, they actually hear words, sentences, and phrases from God, but you see pictures and visions and dreams. You see visual downloads. You might even see symbolically. In other words, like it's a picture, but it needs interpretation. You may dream about a lion and you have to ask God, well, what does this lion represent? Or you might see literally like actual future events playing out like you're watching a movie. You see exactly what's going to happen and exactly how it's going to unfold. That is your gift. There are many seers listed in the Bible. First of all, let's look at 1 Chronicles 29:29. It talks about Samuel the seer, Nathan the prophet, Gad the seer. These are a biblical office and it's a recognized gift. Being a seer isn't some new age, weird, mystical thing. It's actually based in Scripture. Joseph was a seer. He dreamed dreams that revealed the future. His brothers would bow to him in 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of famine. He saw it before it happened. Daniel had visions that shaped nations. He saw kingdoms rising and falling. He saw the future laid out in vivid detail. The entire book of Revelation, written by John while he was in exile on the island Patmos, was an entire vision. It was what he saw. It was so overwhelming and so massive that it took 22 chapters for him to document it. Peter, when he was on the rooftop, had a vision where there was a big sheet came down and there were animals on it, and God told him to go eat. Don't call what I've made clean unclean. And that vision actually changed the entire trajectory of the early church. Paul saw a vision of a man in Macedonia that said, come help us. And that one vision, it redirected Paul's path and his journey, which city he was to visit next. Joel 2:28 says that old men will dream dreams and young men will see visions. This is God's promise. It's his gift for his people. And in Acts 2, when the Holy Spirit falls at Pentecost, Peter's the one who stands up and quotes Joel and says that this is a gift for today, that old men will dream dreams and your young men will have visions. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. This gift is for now. It's not just for the prophets of old. It's for you today. Some of you see in your dreams when you're asleep, God downloads visions. Others can see waking visions when you're fully awake and you see something in your mind through the Spirit. Both are legitimate and both are seeing. And here's the purpose for seeing. It is to give direction, is to build faith, and is to prepare people for what is coming. And often seers are misunderstood because they're living in the future. They're 3 years ahead while everyone else is stuck in the present. And the thing is, the enemy can use that. It's one of his primary attacks on a seer is delay, discouragement, making you think you're crazy, making you have doubt of like, well, did I really see that? Or am I just making it up? Or maybe it's just wishful thinking. Maybe I'm being irresponsible, or maybe I need to be more realistic. No, you saw what you saw. In Habakkuk 2, it says that write the vision and inscribe it on tablets that the one who reads it may run. For the vision is yet for the appointed time. It hastens toward the goal and it will not fail. Though it tarries, wait for it will certainly come. It will not delay. We can read that again. It said it will certainly come. The delay doesn't mean you were wrong. It's just part of the process. So now let's talk about some of your superpowers, because as a seer, you definitely have some incredible strengths. First, you see far beyond what other people can see. You have long distance vision. While everyone else is just focused on today's crisis, you're actually seeing what's happening a year, 2, 5, 10, 20 years down the road. And this is powerful because you see potential where others see problems. Someone can present you with a challenge and you can immediately see 3 solutions and the impact and outcome of each one. You see the finished product before the first step is even taken. Everyone else tends to see they need to see the progress. They need to see the steps before they can believe in which direction to take. But you believe before you've seen any progress because you've already seen the end result. And this creates a lot of hope and momentum for others, because when they catch your vision, when they start to see what you see, it mobilizes them. It gives them something to move toward. Your second superpower, you're entrusted with really big dreams. Not everyone can see as far as you can. And so God gives you dreams that would probably overwhelm most people. Your visions are often multi-generational. They're bigger than one lifetime, and that's okay, because some visions are fulfilled in your generation and some are fulfilled in your legacy. You're wired for significance, for legacy. You don't think in terms of moments, you think in terms of movements. The audacity of your dreams, it either inspires people or it intimidates them. It's either going to evoke people to say, yes, let's do it, let's go. Or it's going to be so intimidating and feel so overwhelming that people will back up because it's too big, it's too scary, and it seems like it's too impossible. But you can't help it. You see big because God shows you big. Your third superpower is you have faith and longevity. Because you've seen it, you can wait for it. And this is part of your superpower. The vision sustains you through the years of delay. And I want to make sure I explain, it's not always delay necessarily. You have such a big vision and such a big picture that, for instance, you, like I said earlier, you see infrastructure before it exists. You see buildings before they're built. Like, there's steps that have to be taken in order for those things to manifest. Like, you can't just see a building and then all of a sudden there's one there. You either need to purchase the property, you need to scope the land, you need to hire a contractor, you need to put some blueprints together. Like, there is progress even in waiting, but the delay isn't because God's saying no. It's because you have this really, really big picture and you have this big vision, but it doesn't just happen instantaneously. It has to come together over time. And that is when I say delay, that's what I'm talking about. Like my husband, for instance, he has huge visions. He has huge pictures about our ministry and about his ministry. He actually leads a men's ministry, and he has this huge vision for it. But it's going to require an infrastructure that doesn't exist yet. It's going to require people to be a part, to come alongside and work along with it. And that we haven't met them yet. But slowly but surely, those things have been coming together over the past 3 years. Like there are the right people coming into the organization. There are the right connections being made. And slowly but surely, the vision he had is coming to pass. It is being manifested. It's just not the end vision he saw yet. You have staying power when others want to quit because you've seen what you've seen, and it's extremely real. It's extremely real to you. Other people quit when things get tough, but you hold on to it. And that is an area where my husband, I will say, he has more longevity than I do. With the men's ministry specifically, there are times when I'm like, why are you still doing this? This is such heartache. This is so hard. It's financially hard. It's bankrupting us. It's like, what are we doing here? And he's like, I know what it can be, and I know God is going to make it great. I've seen it. I know what the outcome is. If I could just hang on. And he has this long suffering, if you will, that I don't have. And I don't think most of us do. I think with the ups and downs that he's been through, most people would have quit a long time ago. But he just has this staying power. He has this faith for it. And that is a gift from God to him as a seer, as a visionary. He has this stick-to-itiveness. And as a seer, you probably have that too, because you have this faith that it is going to happen. It is going to come to pass. You don't know how yet, but it's going to happen. And so when things look rough or they get a little tumultuous or not going the way you what feels good or what you want them to be, you have that stick-to-itiveness to just hang in there because you know what the outcome ultimately is going to look like because God showed it to you. Okay, now let's talk about the shadow side of being a seer because every gift has a weakness. First of all, your first weakness is going to be that you probably have a hard time relating to others who can't see what you see. You see it so clearly. And you genuinely can't understand why other people don't see it the way you see it. It's obvious to you. How can they not see it? This can create some frustration because you may have a tendency to start viewing people as being small-minded or lacking vision, or they're too focused on the present, or they just don't have enough faith. Maybe they don't have enough faith in God, or maybe they don't have enough faith in you. You can get impatient with people who need more time to catch your vision. And sometimes you can dismiss people who are focused on the present reality instead of the future possibility. And there are times where you may even take it personally as it's an attack on you or your character, or maybe that you saw it wrong, make you question and doubt. And that may make you frustrated because you know what you saw. And for them to question you feels like, why can't you have faith like I do? People may be trying to talk to you about today's problems, like we have to pay some bills today. And you're sitting over here talking, well, in 5 years, we'll do this. And in the meantime, they're like, but we need to eat today. Like, what are we going to do with this today? And you're looking ahead, 5 years ahead. The loneliness of seeing what no one else can see is actually very real. You carry a vision that nobody else can see yet, and that can be isolating. You try to pull people into a vision that they're not really ready for. You download the entire vision to them, and they're overwhelmed. You're all excited, but they're terrified. Second weakness of a seer is that you can grow weary and disillusioned. I know this is where God is leading me, but I can't quite get there yet. And that is the cry of just about every seer. The gap between vision and reality, it can be really exhausting. Delay can feel like denial. You start questioning yourself, well, did I really see this or am I just making this up? Was this just wishful thinking? Was this me or was this God? Did I hear God wrong? Maybe I'm delusional. And you may even have people asking you these very questions. I know that, I hate to admit it, but I know that I actually asked my husband this over the men's ministry. I was like, are you sure this was actually what you heard from God, or is this just something you wanted to do personally? And he's like, I heard this from God 20-something years ago. I actually asked him those questions. And now looking back, I'm like, man, that was really rough of me to do that to him, because he is a seer. He had this vision 20-something years ago, and now he's making steps to bring it and manifest it into reality. In the delay, you can watch years go by without the vision manifesting. Year 1, you're super excited. Year 2, you're still hopeful, but by year 5, you're tired. And then if it's 10 years later, you're wondering, is it ever going to happen? There is a temptation to give up when it's taking longer than you think it should have. And you thought it would happen in 2 years, and it's been 10, and you're really tired. There might even be grief about, well, what if I die before this is ever fulfilled? And that can be a real thing for seers. What if you carry this vision your entire life and you never get to see it come to pass? This goes back to what I said, that sometimes it's fulfilled in your generation and sometimes it's fulfilled in your legacy. Sometimes you lay a foundation for your children to build on it or for someone else to build on it. And that's okay. That's not failure. That's faithfulness. And the danger here is bitterness. When vision is delayed, year after year, bitterness can creep in. I actually experienced this a little bit myself. You know, my husband and I, we are pastors of a local church, and then he has a separate ministry where he works with men. And we've been at our church. We've been in ministry off and on for 20-something years, but we've been at leaders of the church for 5 years now. And I had visions. I'm not a super, super strong seer, but God does talk to me in visions and dreams. And I have hugely prophetic dreams. And I had a vision of the church, and I saw it so clearly, and I knew this is the direction God wants to go. This is what it's going to look like. I can see it. I see exactly what he wants to do there. And we're 5 years in, and it feels like we're just not even hardly getting started. You have setbacks all along the way, no matter what you're doing. But even in the church, it's like, how is this ever going to happen? Is this ever going to happen? I'm 5 years in, and I'm like, there are times when I have felt like just giving up, because it's like I'm just putting all this effort in to do what God's called me to do, and there's nothing happening here. And then I have to realize, no, God put you here for a reason. He gave you the vision for a reason. Your job is to stay faithful. And so I keep holding on to that of like, no, I believe God's not a liar. And I believe that he's going to make it happen. It may be in my lifetime. It may be in my legacy. But I'm going to remain faithful to what he gave me, to the vision that he gave me. The third weakness of a seer is that sometimes you have a hard time valuing the day by day. Like, you may have this mentality of, I want to change the world. Let's do this, but I don't have time to do the dishes. And that is seers in a nutshell. Like, my husband, I have heard him say this verbatim. Like, I'm going to change the world. I want to change my county. He will tell you firsthand he doesn't do details. He understands the details are important, and he wants to know the details, but he's not going to do the details. And that is a seer in a nutshell. You can be so focused on the big that you have a tendency to neglect the small. You sometimes can despise ordinary tasks because they don't really feel significant, like paying the bills, doing the laundry, showing up for the mundane daily routine. It all feels like it's not worth your time because you are wired for world-changing vision. You can get bored with daily maintenance when you're wired for breakthrough. Like, you don't want to maintain what is because you want to build what is to come. The fourth weakness of a seer is that you can confuse your vision with God's timing. Now, let me explain. You saw it, and so it's in our nature to think it should happen now. The vision is so clear, it's so real, it's so urgent, and it's natural to want to expect immediate fulfillment. And sometimes you can move too fast because the vision is so clear to you, but not everyone operates at vision speed. And sometimes as a seer, you need to slow down a little bit and bring people along with you because your vision is so big. Your picture's so big, you can't do it by yourself. You may also have a tendency to try to force the vision before it's time. Like, you can make it happen in your own strength instead of waiting for God to put the pieces together for you. And what God intended to do supernaturally, we may try to manufacture within ourselves. And I can tell you from past experience that doing things in your own strength usually blow up in your face. The biggest danger here is burnout. Building something out of your own strength is not going to last because it wasn't God's timing. You didn't partner with him. God wants us to partner with him. He gives us these big visions and these big pictures for us to partner with him in order to do something. And we want to do it in our own strength because we want to go ahead and go do it now. And what happens is we get burned out because we're doing it out of our own strength. And we weren't ever meant to. So now let's get really real about what the gift of being a seer can cost you relationally. First of all, if you're married to a non-seer, it can actually create some serious tension. They need present stability. They need to know that today's bills are paid. They need to know that you're here. They not mentally living 5 years in the future. While you may be thinking, can't we talk about what to do next? Can we dream about the future? They're saying, can we just be present in today? Can you just be present right now? The people in your life may have a tendency to feel like they're never enough because you're always looking ahead to the next thing. They want you to be present at the dinner table and you're sitting there thinking about the big vision. People may even call you irresponsible or unrealistic. They tell you to come back down to earth or to be more practical. And the thing is, you're not being irresponsible. You're just seeing something that they can't see yet. The financial strain of a vision is a very real thing as well. Vision always costs more than you think it will. And if you're married to someone who is more practical, they're sitting here looking at the bank account going, how are we going to pay for all this? And your response is, God will provide. My God's a big God. And they're sitting here thinking, that's not a budget. Oftentimes your team members, they really can't keep up with how fast you want to move. You're ready to launch yesterday, and they still need time to process, plan, and prepare. You're getting frustrated because they're wasting time. People may even accuse you of being a dreamer who never executes. They'll say things like, you're all talk and no action. You cast the vision, but you never follow through. And that's painful because you are trying, but the vision is so big, sometimes you don't even know where to start. The isolation of carrying such a big vision can be really brutal because you're the only one who sees it. And you're the only one who believes it, and that can be really lonely. People may mock you or dismiss you. When your vision seems crazy, they can write you off. And if the vision is delayed, they may oftentimes say, see, I told you it was never going to happen. And there's grief in that delay, and it can be really heavy. You can even start to lose credibility. You cast this really big vision, and then it doesn't happen on your timeline, and people may even stop believing in you. Yeah, another one of your visions. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That is the cost of being a seer, and it's very real. And if you are a seer, you've probably felt all of those things at one point in time. All right, so now let's talk about how to grow in your spiritual gifting. Some practical strategies, shall we? First of all, write the vision. Habakkuk 2:2 says to record the vision on tablets. Writing the vision down makes it tangible. It's no longer just in your head. It's on paper, it's documented, and it becomes real. Create a vision document, a vision board, a vision book, a journal, whatever works for you, but get it out of your head and onto something that you can actually see. Include what you saw, when you saw it, what you believe it means, and why it matters. You can draw it, you can paint it, you can find photographs that represent it. Make it visual so that others can start to see what you can see. And here's the key. Make it visible so it's something you see every day. Put it somewhere where others can see it so that when you're discouraged and you start to get weary, when you're doubting, you can look at it and you can remember what you saw. God showed me this. Update it as God gives you more clarity. When sometimes visions can come in layers, like you may not see, you may have the whole big picture, but then there's details to be worked out. As God gives you more clarity, add to your board. You can see part of it and then God shows you more. Document the additions. And here's what Habakkuk says about the writing. The delay isn't to frustrate you. It's to keep you going. It's to keep you digging, investigating what's the next step. The written vision is what sustains you in the delay. The second way to start growing your gifting is to identify priorities and your core values. Here's a problem for seers. They're attracted to the very next shiny thing. And when there's an opportunity as a visionary, sometimes it is really tempting to say, yes, that's a great idea. Let's do that. But you have to check yourself and say, is this my vision or is this a vision? So you need a filter. You need to ask, does this align with the core vision that God gave me, or is this just a distraction? What are the non-negotiables? What is the main thing? Like, what can you say no to so that you make sure that you say yes to the right thing? Because not every opportunity is your opportunity to have. Just because it's a good idea doesn't mean that it's meant for you. Write out a mission statement, your core values, create a decision-making filter so that when someone brings you an opportunity, you can run it through that filter and say, does this serve the vision God gave me, or is this a distraction? We often do this even in business. You know, when you start a business, one of the things you want to do is you want to develop some core values. That way, when things come your way, you run it through those core values. Even whether it's a business opportunity or even if it's to hire someone, you want to run them through that core value to see, are they going to be a good fit for the character of my business that I want to have? Is the opportunity going to be a good fit for the character of my business? What are my core values? And we often have those even in our own life. As a Christian, you have a certain level, well, we all, whether you're a Christian or not, you have a certain level of core values. When you have relationships with people, we are running them through our core values of whether they should stay in our life or not. Are they meeting this criteria? Are, for instance, as a Christian, do you want a friend who is involved in witchcraft? Probably not. Can you be friendly to them? Yes. Can you minister to them? Yes. But you don't necessarily want to bring them into your close circle of your confidant or someone that you lean on. You're not going to ask them to pray with you because they're going to have a completely different set of core values. When you have clarity on your priorities, it keeps you from chasing every vision or every distraction that's going to be diluting your impact. The third way to grow your gifting is to break the vision into actionable steps. You see the end, you see the finished product, but what are the steps to get there? Vision without any action is just a daydream. You need a bridge between your vision and reality. And a lot of times that's really hard for seers because they're like, I don't know how we're going to get there. We're just going to get there. But you're not going to get there without a path. So you can ask yourself, what needs to happen this year in order to move toward the vision? What can I do this month? What needs to change today? And this is where it helps to have practical people around you because you need builders, administrators, planners, and people who can take your vision and help you create a roadmap. And here's something really important. Celebrate the small wins along the way. You can be so focused on the big picture, the end of the road, that you can forget to celebrate the progress that you have. We may not be there yet, but look how far we've come. The fourth way to help grow your gifting is to be accountable to your vision. Statistically, they say that about 80% of the people stay on track when they're being held accountable. You cannot expect to fulfill this vision by yourself. Who around you knows your vision? Who can you share the full vision with without them dismissing you or judging you? Who do you have that will ask you about your progress? Who has permission in your life to say, you cast this 6 months ago, so what have you done thus far in order to achieve it? Who do you have that will encourage you when you're weary? Because you will get weary. You will get tired. Everything in life, my husband and I often say that everything in life, every idea, business, ministry, it doesn't matter. It always takes more time than you think it's going to take, costs more money than you think it's going to cost, and will take way more energy and effort than you think it will ever take. When we cast this vision, we have this exciting plan of like, I'm going to go do this, and it's going to be this, and I have a vague plan to get there, and I'm going to do X, Y, Z to get there, and it's going to be fine. But then it takes longer. It costs more, and you get more tired than you think you're going to. And that's true for everything. So you need people in your life who will do regular checkups with you, who believe in the vision as much as you do, and will still encourage you when it does get tough. Set up some regular check-ins, like have quarterly reviews or even weekly meetings. Like, am I moving toward the vision, or am I just talking about it? What has changed? What has improved? What needs to be changed? If you can, find other seers who understand the long game. They understand the delay, and they won't judge you for when things take longer than you thought they would. The fifth way to grow as a seer is for you to honor the day by day. And I know this is really hard for you, but it is essential because honestly, the mundane matters. Do the dishes, pay the bills, show up for the ordinary moments. Your family needs you present and not always mentally in the future. My husband is a huge seer, but he shows up for the small things. He shows up for the day-to-day. We have a rental property, an Airbnb that, we have this picture of what it's going to be and we believe what it's going to be, but he had to go do repairs yesterday. And it was a really long and frustrating day and wasn't what he wanted to do. even as a seer, like he doesn't want to do the details. That's not his gifting, but he shows up for the small things and he does the mundane. He does the hard thing, the day to day. And that is essential. And it's also scriptural. Scripture says that if you can't steward the small things, you won't be entrusted with the big things. If you can't manage today, you won't be stewarding tomorrow's vision. And while you're waiting for it to happen, make sure you practice gratitude for what is while you wait for what will be. Thank God for where you are, even though you're not where you're going. Sixth, learn to communicate in bite-sized pieces. You can see the whole thing all at once, but other people don't. You get a complete download from beginning to end in one vision, and they may need digestible portions of it. You can start with why. Why before you get to the what. Like, help them understand why the vision matters before you tell them what the vision is. Paint the picture that other people can see. Use stories or metaphors, something that they can relate to. Let people catch up to what you're seeing. Not everyone needs the whole download all at once. Give them a piece of it, let them process it, and then you can give them another piece. Think of it like this. You're the scout. You've gone ahead and you've seen the promised land, and now you need to come back and bring your people with you, but they can't see what you see yet, so you have to describe it in a way that they can receive. Now, if you're not a seer, but you love someone who is, let me give you a little coaching on how you can relate with them better. You can ask them specific, practical questions. Don't just let them cast the vision endlessly. Help them get practical. Ask some questions like, what does success look like? And how can we measure that? You can ask them, what's a tangible way to know that we've lived in this vision? You can also ask them, what do you think needs to change in order for this to come to pass? What needs to change in order for this to happen? Is it habits? Is it a heart change? Maybe even our daily life. Help them translate the vision into action steps. They see the end, but you can start helping them see the path. Help them document the vision. You can help them set up a vision board. You can create a folder for their ideas. You can buy them a beautiful journal. Anything to help make them help to make the vision more tangible. Encourage them as they get tired. You can remind them of what they saw. When they're discouraged and they're questioning themselves, you can tell them, remember what you saw. Remember what God showed you. Make sure you celebrate the small wins with them along the way. They're focused on the end goal, and sometimes they're missing the progress. So you can celebrate. You celebrate with them of like, look what happened this month. We're moving forward. And don't dismiss their dreams as unrealistic. Their job is to dream. They were given this gift for a reason, because we need visionaries. If we didn't have visionaries, there wouldn't be so many things in this world. And the body of Christ needs visionaries. Your job might be to build. You may be the architect, the one who draws up the blueprints for the big vision. And both jobs matter. They're both important, and they need each other. When you try to ground them in reality, make sure you do it in a way that isn't crushing the vision. For instance, you can say stuff like, I love this vision, so now what can we do today? You're not diminishing the vision then. You're actually helping them make a next step. You can help protect them from distraction. Every time a shiny thing comes along, you can help by asking, well, does this serve the main vision? And finally, you can remind them that delay is not denial. The vision hasn't come to pass yet, but it doesn't mean that it won't. God's timing is perfect. Okay, so let's get super practical. Here's a couple tools that will help you grow today as a seer, and you can implement this week. First, you can create a vision journal. Write down what you saw, when you saw it, and what you believe it means. You can create a vision board. Create a visual representation of what it is that you're seeing. You can create a vision timeline. Map out some short-term milestones, something that you would do this year, and then have some long-term milestones, something that's 5 to 10 years down the road. Then make sure you have regular review, have quarterly check-ins, or even weekly meetings, whatever it is you think you need, and ask yourself, am I moving toward this? What has changed, and what still needs to change? Now, if you have very, very vivid dreams, here's practical application that can help you unpack those dreams. Write down your dreams immediately. As soon as you wake up, you can keep a journal by your bed. Ask God for interpretation, and don't just assume that you know what it means. You may know what it means immediately, but make sure to ask Him to have confirmation. Start to look for patterns in your dreams over time. Are there recurring themes or symbols? And remember that not every dream is prophetic. You need to learn to discern. Is it pizza dreams, the burrito I had last night, or is it really from God? Make sure you're checking symbolic dreams against Scripture, because God will not contradict His word. So as a seer, you need a next right steps exercise in order to start moving toward the vision that you have. For first thing you can do, you can write it down. I see whatever the big vision is. Make sure that you are writing down the full vision. Then you can ask yourself, what's the next right step? What's the one actionable thing I can do right now in order to start moving toward it? Then you can commit to doing this by a certain date. Put a timestamp on it. Make sure that you create some sort of accountability for it. And then you can start just repeating that process. Once you complete that step, then identify the next one. And this helps you create a pathway from where you are right now to the picture God gave you. Now, I want to share with you a couple of red flags that you can look at to see, am I operating in my flesh or am I operating in the Spirit? Ask yourself, is this vision puffing me up? Or is it glorifying God? Am I honoring present responsibilities or neglecting them for future vision? Am I willing to wait for God's timing, or am I forcing this to happen? Am I bringing people along, or am I leaving them behind? Is this producing peace or anxiety in me? If you're puffed up or neglecting today, you're forcing the timing, you're isolated and anxious, if you've said yes to any of these things, then you're probably operating in your flesh, and that is okay. It really is. It's no big deal. All you have to do is just recalibrate back to your identity, understand that you got a little sidestepped, and then come back to the truth of what God is showing you. And here I want to give you a really quick, some accountability framework. You can ask yourself these questions and try to find the people in your life who can fulfill them. 1, who knows your full vision? Share it with someone safe. Who do you know that will ask you about your progress, that you will give permission to? Who has permission to speak into your life? Not just a cheerleader, but a truth teller. How often will you report on movement toward the vision? Weekly, monthly, quarterly? All right, friends, so here's your challenge this week. Write your vision. Get it out of your head and onto paper. It doesn't matter if it's in a journal, on a vision board, whatever you decide, but make it tangible. And here's a reflection question for you to ponder. What vision has God given you that you have been too afraid to pursue? And what would actually change if you started to move toward it? Sit with that for a minute. Journal about it. Ask God to give you courage. Then identify one right next step. Not the whole staircase, just the next step. What's one thing that you can do this week to move toward your picture? Find someone who will hold you accountable, someone who believes in your vision and will ask you, what did you do this month to work toward it? And practice being present today while still honoring tomorrow's vision. All right, so that's it on the Seer. And listen, if you haven't listened to the other episodes yet, go back and listen to them. Find out what your primary one is. Don't forget there's a quiz in the description box below that you can access to find out which one you probably fall into. You might be surprised to see which one comes out. And remember, we all operate in all 4 at different times depending on different circumstances. But we have one primary that is our go-to, is our default. We do it without even thinking about it. And you may be multilingual. You may be pretty strong in 2 or 3, and then the other one just kind of falls off. But there's going to be one that you typically go to. It's the one that you do without even thinking about it. It's the one that you do naturally. And so I encourage you to honor that and steward it. So before I go, let me say this one more time. You're not a flaky dreamer. You're not unrealistic. You're not irresponsible. You are a seer, and it is the divine, beautiful gift from God. It is how He speaks to you, and the world needs what you see. So hold on to what He has shown you. It is real, and it is coming. I hope you've gotten value out of today's episode and this series. If so, make sure you like, share it with a friend, subscribe, hit the bell icon, or don't, whatever you want to do. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I will see you next time.